So do you want to know how to paint ice cubes actually look cool and transparent? Well, today we're going to paint the spooky Halloween cocktail called the Purple People Eater, and I'm going to show you how to layer the watercolors for that glassy ice effect. So for my patrons, I have sketched this out, and I will give you the printable along with a bonus of a Black Widow drink. Ooh. And by the way, if you're enjoying these demos and want to see even more, I do share extra goodies over on my Patreon link. And it's a great way to support my channel. It helps me keep creating these videos for you. So I will leave the link below if you'd like to check it out. So for paints, I'm going to use my Rosa paint. And this is just a slice of Arches watercolor paper that I had leftovers. So I'm going to use that. It was long and tall, and it was like, that works perfectly. So I've got my Rosa paints here. I'm going to use those. And I just have my spray bottle here. I'm going to spritz this. This is called the Purple People Eater. So we want to kind of have that purpley shade in there, and we're going to leave a little bit of light where that ice would be. So I'm using my Princeton Neptune size 8, and I'm just going to start with some water. I actually have some yellow, it looks like, on there, but that's all right. And you can see I tried to erase it, and then I decided, well, it's hard for you to see if I erase it, so I kind of left all my pencil lines in there, and I didn't even clean it up. Look at that yellow in there. Oops, well, that's all right. I must have had it. See, I've got it up in there in the ferrule. That's why it's really important to clean your brushes really well. And that one evidently was not quite clean enough. All right, so we've got this nice and wet. I don't think that yellow is going to show too much. But it gives you a nice tint so you can see where I've wet the area. So we want to have a couple different layers on this. So the first layer, I'm going to go with a kind of a light blue. Now you can make your own purple by using some reds or some rose colors. That makes that really pretty purple. This particular kit does have purple in it, so I might use both of those. We'll see. But I'm going to start out with this really light purple. We'll see what this looks like over the top of this yellow that I've got in here. So I want to kind of keep in mind that I want some light for the ice cube, so I don't want to put that purple everywhere. Inquiring minds here, are you a fan of Halloween? And I would love to hear how you decorate. Leave me a comment down below. It's super light. And then I do have some of that purple up here as well in the glass. It's kind of reflecting in here. I'm just going to kind of tuck it in. I do have a little yellow in here. Whoops. That's going to be my slice of lime. So now this is not wet. So I'm getting pretty defined little marks in there. This is my eyeball, in case you're wondering what that is. So eyeball and a little piece of lemon. All right, so we're going to get a little bit deeper now. I've got some ultramarine blue. I'm going to take some of that purple and mix that together. I want to go a little darker. And I want to have all those colors in here. Not really, just kind of bouncing around. I don't want to cover up all that light purple. Where the ice cubes are. Make sure I leave some of that space in there. And I think I want a deep purple here up at the top. And then maybe keep that more blue shade down on the bottom. So we might want to do a few layers to this. Let's go with a little darker blue here. So even those ice cubes are going to have some color to them. I do want to make sure I come down. I'm going to tighten up on that brush just a little bit more here as I get those sides done. And I'm going to leave a little bit of white space. If I find I don't get enough white in there, I can go back in with my Posca pen and just add a little bit more to it. All right, so I'm going to go in with some more purple, a little bit darker. I'm going to pop some of that in here too. So I'm just dropping it in, letting this all sort of blend together. And I do want to get it pretty dark. So we're thinking Halloween, you know, Get those nice dark colors in there. I do have that nice rim in here, but I might lose that. And again, it's okay if I do. I can just go ahead and add some white to that. Again, tucking it in. So I'm kind of squaring off some of those little spots where I have the ice cubes. Some of that's going to come through. Hopefully that's going to look like an ice cube. I might, again, add some water to that. I mean, some white to that later on. So I'm going to add some more of that rose opry color up at the top. And let's just pop some of that in there. It's looking kind of dark and spooky. Again, I want it pretty rich, so I'm going to go in even darker. This is another darker shade of purple. You could add a little bit of like black grape to that if you wanted to. Got that color in here as well. And I think we have most of the darknesses on the sides here. Again, letting some of that blend in with that blue. I'm gonna put a couple of lines down in here. You see the ice cubes? Ooh, again, nice controlled lines if I can. I'm trying to be somewhat loose with this. Okay, and I've got that same color in here. Probably should let more of an edge to that, but again, that's all right. Okay. Maybe a little bit more blue in here. I have a little bit too much water. I've already got enough water in here, so I don't want to do too much. It's fun just to kind of drop in color, see what it's going to do. I think that's going to be dark enough, and then I'm going to mirror this kind of on the bottom here. The bottom of the glass is going to reflect the colors that are in there, but I want to leave a little bit of white. Just imagine this is a clear glass that we've got. This is going to be the little rim here. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to come back in and work on our little lime and our eyeball. Okay, we are all dry. So that's kind of like the first round. Now let's go ahead and do a little bit of yellow on that lime. Looks like I've got some green in there. There we go. Kind of a bright yellow. So again, I'm going to go a little bit lighter. A little bit of water in here. And I probably would clean this up a little bit if but I wanted you to see the pencil lines. And we've got, again, I'm not going to cover up all of it. I want some of that little juiciness to it. And then we do have a little bit of white down in here, so I don't want to cover too much of that up. And I'm going to go in with just a little bit warmer tone. Just maybe for the edge here and the other side. Give it a little bit of a shadow. And then we've got a little darker down on the bottom. Look at that. I kind of did too much in here, so I'm going to lift some of that out. My bracelets are banging on that. Okay, you can definitely see those pencil lines. I might cover it up with a little bit of gouache. All right, and then the eyeball It's pretty much white, but it's not completely white. So I've got a little bit of gray here. I can mix a little bit of purple with it. And let's just give this a little bit of a shadow. We might give it some bloodshot eyes. Bring some of that in here. Just re-wetting some of that. Gonna have a little bit of cast shadow on the underneath where that purple is. And I forgot to do that on the yellow. So let's bring a little bit of yellow down in here. Pull out some of that purple. It's kind of a brown, that's all right. Okay, and then what color do we want that eyeball to be? How about, I'll make it blue. It's got a little center in here. That will be black. And it's kind of a bloodshot, creepy eye, so we'll let some of that blend while it's still wet. And then I've got some great black. Let's just hit the center of that. Give it a little bit of white. And I'm going to wait for that to dry so I can give it some bloodshot. I kind of like the way this is kind of spreading out here. But normally, if I was doing an eyeball, I wouldn't want that to happen because you don't want the color to expand. But since we're kind of, it's like a eerie looking kind of picture. It's supposed to be creepy looking. All right, now I'm going to go back in with some darker purple, and we're just going to put in a few lines around. That might be a little too dark. Let's add a little water to that, maybe a little bit more pink. There we go. Tap off some excess. Yeah, that's better. So I'm just going to give a couple little lines in here where maybe those pieces of ice might be. And just an illusion, not actually painting in cubes anywhere. Might go a little darker down in here. And I don't want to overdo it too much. But it kind of gives you the idea that there's some cubes going on in there. I could even soften some of those lines a little bit more. Some of them might be too dramatic. Just adding a little water to that is all I did. That's better. Okay, and then we can add a few little white marks in here. I think I'm going to use the gouache just to doctor up my lemon a little bit. I don't like those lines in there. So I'm just going to cover it up with a little bit of gouache. That is not the best lemon slice, I will say. But that's all right. I would like it more transparent than that, but it sort of looks like a lemon. We'll doctor it up with a little bit of white with our pen. And let's see, is that dry enough yet? I want to have my little squiggly lines of red in there. I may switch to a smaller brush for this. This is my small Siberian elk brush. This is my handmade brush from Tracy Lebendon brushes. Incredible brushes. I love these things. They are so wild. They have such a nice point to them. So it gives me lots of little details. So I'm going to come in here, maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of bloodshot eyes. I'm going to need to water that down just a little bit. So I'm trying to go with more of a true red for this. And even this is a little thick, but ooh, what's a bloodshot eye look like? I think this is the first time I've ever done a bloodshot eye. I don't know if it's got this many in here or not, but mine does. And I think I'm going to put in just a tad bit more blue around here, give it a little bit of definition. Because you know how our eyes are not all the same color all the way around. Just kind of pops it out a little bit more. I could get super detailed with the eyeball, but I'm not gonna. It's really hard not to. Okay, and then grab my Posca pen. I haven't used this for a while. Let's see how. Do I have enough white in there? I think so. Let's check it out. So I'm going to give myself a couple little sparklies in here. And where the ice might be a little brighter in the glass. And then in the side of the cup, we might have just a couple, again, a couple little marks, just where it's reflecting. Could even have some in here. I could have more of a white reflection from the eyeball. And I do want a little bit on the rim of the glass. And I'm being really messy. Trying to see if I can get this thing to work. And just kind of scribbling. And I can even sharpen up some of these lines here. Let's see if we can add a little bit more white in here. It's got like this little loop-de-loo in here. A couple little sparkles. I don't know if this looks like a lemon or not, but I think if I cleaned it up a little bit more, it would have been better. So, all right. This is our little eyeball and our purple people eater little cocktail or mocktail. And I just wanted to share with you guys, I've been working on a new class for my Skillshare all about summer drinks. So this is going to be kind of based on that theme for all my summer drinks that I was working on while I was in Maine. And again, we're going to have a class coming up on this. These were all made up drinks. Don't they look delicious? I wish I could say I tried every one of these, but I did not. So I hope you had fun painting along with me today, practicing those icy layers. And don't forget to like, subscribe, because I'm trying to hit that 20,000 mark. I would really appreciate it. Share it with a friend or someone that you know loves watercolor, or maybe someone that just loves Halloween. All right, we'll see you in the next one. And if you're a patron, stick around for the Black Widow Martini. So thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.